With crypto making us happy again, we have to wonder, is that a fake out? Is this just about to liquidate us again? Or is this the beginning of another huge rally, which, as we said before, could go up until September 2025? So today we're going to take a look at a few indicators that could show us the answer to these questions. Hello folks, I hope you guys are doing fantastic. I hope your bags are finally going back to the green like mine are. So if we take a look right here, we see a plethora of green numbers and green charts here on CoinMarketCap. So by looking at the price of Bitcoin, which is currently at 94,800, we have Ethereum almost at 1,800, XRP at $2.20, BNB at $606, and Solana at 154. Why is the market moving so fast and so rapidly? If you remember, I think it was 2 videos ago, I said that most likely if we reached the 94,000, it would be just a wick, we'd just hit it and then we could go back up towards the 80s. Is that still what's going to happen? Well, right now, because we're climbing so fast, we don't know. I have some things to show you, some things on the charts to show you that are similar to other events in the past. So that could be it. And we also have some data to analyze. First of all, let's start with the Fear and Greed Index, which has been climbing a lot recently. In just less than a month, we went from below 20, we were actually at 15, from 15 to 52. This is in a matter of just days, not even months. This is days. Less than 2 weeks, we went from 15 to 52. And that is from a bottom of $76,000 all the way to now the $94,000 on Bitcoin. So of course, what did this cause? This caused a lot of liquidations, and these liquidations were actually on the short side. So people who were betting that the market was going to go down, well, they got liquidated and wiped. But in the last 24 hours, that number is not ridiculously high. It's around $289 million. That is the amount of dollars liquidated in the markets of short positions. Of course, we do have some long positions right here. Weirdly enough, we have XRP, SUI, of course, because SUI is flying. We can actually look for SUI right here. Yeah, you can see SUI 77% in the past 7 days. So SUI is ripping. So congratulations if you're holding SUI. And we can actually see that movement right here also in the traditional market, in the stock market, with the S&P 500 recovering 11% of what it lost, which was around 25% from the low 6,000s that it was all the way to below 5,000. Now we are back at $5,500 for the S&P 500 index. That says that globally things are starting to revert back to its original place. And this is after all that tariff talks that Trump was having, the tariff wars that we were seeing and discussing here in the channel. So what does it mean for Bitcoin? Does it mean that it's going to go up with the stock market? Well, we have some indicators that could prove that we are indeed about to see a huge leg up. One of them is the DXY, which is the dollar index. It shows the strength of the dollar globally. And guess what? It has been going down. And weirdly enough, Donald Trump actually wants the dollar to be weaker than it currently is. Well, for a bunch of reasons that we're not going to cover here, but most of the times we have an inverse correlation to a weak dollar compared to a strong Bitcoin. So when the dollar is a little bit weaker, people look towards other places to invest and to leave their money at. And most of the time, this is true for Bitcoin. So they find that answer in Bitcoin. And guess what? Historically, like you're seeing in these images right here, when we had weak dollar, it usually followed by a strong period of Bitcoin rallying up. So as you can see in the images, we are right now in a period where the dollar is getting weaker, but guess what? Bitcoin also got weaker by 30% actually. So does it mean that history will not repeat itself? No, because this fall of everything was not just for Bitcoin. It was for the stock market, traditional markets, commodities. Everything was going down because of the wars, the tariff wars, So now that we had that macro event out of the way, we are a clean slate once again, and most likely things are going to start to act like they used to, like they did historically, meaning that the dollar will most likely see an upward leg right now. But if we continues down, we should see a period of time where Bitcoin will go up. And again, this goes back to maybe a month ago when I covered a video showing you the cycles of Bitcoin. And it matches exactly with what we said, that the end of April was the beginning of the next rally up all the way to September 2025. So with that being said, how can we be so sure? Well, we can never be so sure, but we can see similarities. For example, if you compare what we're seeing right now, which is a very funneled up Bollinger following by a lot of volume, and the RSI going from the 50, so right in the middle, all the way to overbought. Well, where did we see that? If we scroll down all the way to November, guess what? We had something very similar right here. Funneled up Bollinger, followed by the RSI going all the way to the overbought situation. And guess what? This rallied from the 68s, the $70,000, all the way to the all-time high of $108,000. So are we most likely going to see it again? I don't know. But guess what? We have similarities right here. When the Bollinger opened up, then it funnels up again. We had a few days where we thought, well, this is it. 76 is the next thing. And then we rallied once again. So now by looking at it right here, we bounced on the averages. So that's good to hold us from current prices. We opened up the Bollinger. Now we are closing in on the Bollinger again. And we went from oversold all the way back inside the safe levels of the RSI, going back towards an oversold. And that could mean that we could see a few days of stagnation followed by another rally up. Well, will this apply to everything? No, because if we look to Ethereum, Ethereum does not show the same signals that we saw in November. So take, for example, right here, what we're seeing right now is we had indeed a very funneled Bollinger right here, just like we did before, which followed a huge movement. Again, a Bollinger right here following a nice movement. We are trending very, very close to the moving averages. So this could slow down us or just propel us even more because it will act like a platform. We went from mid RSI all the way to overbought. We are correcting, which is a good sign. But if we look right here to November, the movement doesn't look the same. Look at how much strength we had right here, going from the 2400 all the way to the 3300. So here we had a lot of volume, very steep increase in RSI, and we kept the top of the Bollinger for the whole way. It never slowed down until the first leg was done. If we look actually to Solana, Solana is actually very delayed. Usually altcoins, they tend to have a little bit of a delay over Bitcoin. Of course, it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then it trickles down through all the other altcoins. So we saw that delay on Solana. But guess what? We had a funneled up, not as much as I'd like to, but we had a funneled up Bollinger right here. We saw the low $100 for Solana, and then it climbed. Now we have that scary averages right here acting as resistance. If we break that, we should see a lot of volume and the spike in RSI. And if we look actually at the 4-hour charts, which is the charts that we're looking for the others, we are actually now above the moving averages, which could be good for us if we test the 130s again. I even said, I think on Monday, that the 130s was a strong, reliable place for us to coast, you know, because it was going to act as a strong place to rest and to test again, which we can clearly see right here from the moving averages acting as a support. But if we scroll down to November, look at how much faster we saw a movement, and then we coasted quite a lot on the overbought part, which is not what we're seeing right now. So this could mean again that we're gonna see Bitcoin rally, we're gonna see Bitcoin push a lot right now, and then we should see Ethereum after, trickling down to all altcoins by maybe late May, maybe beginning of June, we don't know. But Bitcoin is showing a lot of strength and is showing a lot of possibilities that we can see it spiking up in price right now, maybe back towards the $100,000. Who knows? If we have volume and if we have strength, we can see that. And if other metrics are favorable, like the dollar being weaker, VIX going back down, the S&P 500 still pushing up, that should bring indeed more strength to Bitcoin, and maybe we can see $100,000 once again. And amongst all of these very, very good news, we also have very good news on the ZeroDTE copy trading strategy, which now has done the best performing month so far since 2025. So December 2024, we closed at 454. January did 5.15, February 3.63, March 3.9, and now with still a week to go, we are at 5.16% on the month of April. So very, very good. And we are so close to the 2 million assets under management. So if you haven't deposited on Bitopics yet, I've made a video showing why this is such a good strategy. This is a stablecoin only strategy. You're not going to have volatility, just going to deposit dollars right here and have pretty much the best yield on your savings account for crypto. Pretty much that's what it is. So check us out, is the first link in the description. Join us. You can see all the metrics right here. You can do your own spreads, you can do your own single-legged naked options right here. Whatever you want to do, we are able to provide with Bitopics, but the copy trading for you beginner is the best thing that we have to offer. So check us out. Again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend, and the markets also are favorable for us throughout the weekend. And I'll see you guys on Monday with some news regarding the free course that we're going to be offering here in Bitopics. So thank you very much. I'll see you guys then. Peace.